Welcome to the Political Bridge. I'm Ada. Today we're diving into a topic that touches every American. It's about how our laws get made, or sometimes don't get made. We're talking about congressional gridlock. This happens when lawmakers can't agree on important bills. It often leads to major delays. Sometimes it stops laws from passing altogether. This can affect everything from our roads to our health care. It can even impact how much money we have in our pockets. We'll explore the impact of legislative holdouts. These are small groups of lawmakers. They can stop big bills from moving forward. Is this a necessary check on power, or does it just make our government unable to act? Joining me to discuss are Nico and Jordan. Nico will argue from a conservative viewpoint. Jordan will offer a progressive perspective. Let's start with Nico. What's your take on legislative holdouts?
Thanks, Ada. Legislative holdouts are not gridlock. They're a feature, not a bug, of our system. They protect us from bad laws. Our founders designed Congress to be slow. They wanted to prevent hasty decisions. A small group can stop a bill. This means a bill needs broad support. It can't just be pushed through by one party. Think about the debt ceiling debates. Holdouts demanded spending cuts. This forced a conversation about our national debt. That's responsible governing. Without holdouts, we'd see more unchecked spending. We'd have bigger government. We'd have more rules that hurt businesses. This slows down our economy. It also takes away individual freedom. We need lawmakers who stand firm. They must protect taxpayers. They must guard against overreach. This is how we ensure good policy. It's not about stopping progress. It's about ensuring wise progress. This is a crucial part of our checks and balances. It prevents the majority from trampling on the minority. It makes sure every voice is heard, even if it's a small one. This is how we keep government accountable.
Nico, I hear your point about checks and balances. But let's be real. Today's legislative holdouts are often about power, not principle. They're causing real harm to real people. This isn't just about slowing down bad laws. It's about stopping vital progress. We see this with budget impasses. Government shutdowns happen. This means federal workers don't get paid. Services for veterans get delayed. Critical infrastructure projects stall. We need to invest in our future. We need to fix our crumbling bridges and roads. We need to address climate change. We need to make healthcare more affordable. These are things most Americans agree on, but a small group can block them. This isn't protecting freedom. It's holding our country hostage. It prevents us from tackling big problems. It also makes people lose faith in government. They see lawmakers fighting. They don't see them solving problems. This is a form of congressional gridlock. It hurts our economy. It hurts our standing in the world. It hurts everyday families. We need a government that can act.
You both make strong opening arguments. Nico, you say holdouts protect against bad laws and overspending. Jordan, you argue they prevent vital progress and harm everyday people. My first follow-up question is for both of you. How do we tell the difference? When is a legislative holdout a principled stand, and when is it just obstruction for political gain? What's the line?
That's a fair question, Ada. The line is clear. A principled stand focuses on core values. It's about limited government. It's about individual liberty. It's about fiscal responsibility. Take the recent debates over the national budget. Some lawmakers insisted on spending cuts. They wanted to reduce our debt. This isn't about political gain. It's about protecting future generations. Our national debt is a huge problem. It threatens our children's future. Holding out for a smaller government is always principled. It means less taxes for working families. It means more money stays in your pocket. It means fewer rules for small businesses. This allows them to grow and create jobs. When a holdout fights for these things, it's a principled stand. It's about protecting the American dream. It's not about stopping all legislation. It's about making sure the legislation we pass is good for the country. It's about standing up for what's right, even if it's unpopular with some.
Nico, I think that line is blurry at best. Often, these principled stands are just about stopping any progress. They block bills that would help millions. Look at efforts to expand childcare or to lower prescription drug costs. These are widely popular ideas. They would make a real difference in people's lives, but a small group of lawmakers blocks them. They say it's about fiscal responsibility. but they often support tax cuts for the wealthy. This increases the debt. It's not consistent. It seems more like political obstruction. They want to make the other party look bad. They want to stop any wins for the current president. This isn't about values. It's about partisan games. It's about winning elections. It's not about what's best for the country. When holdouts stop bills that have broad public support, it's obstruction. It's not principled. It's a failure of leadership. It means we can't address urgent problems. It leaves families struggling. It leaves our communities vulnerable. We need solutions, not roadblocks.
This brings us to our stress test. Nico, you argue that holdouts are a necessary check. They ensure broad support for bills. But you haven't explained how a small minority can truly represent broad support when they block bills that polls show are popular with most Americans. How do you reconcile that? Jordan, you argue holdouts are often about political obstruction, but you haven't explained how to prevent a tyranny of the majority. How do we ensure minority voices are heard if we always prioritize passing bills quickly?
Ada, that's a key point. Public opinion can be swayed. It can be based on incomplete information. A small group of lawmakers might see the long-term effects. They might see the true cost of a bill. They might understand the negative impacts. They might know it will hurt our economy later. They might know it will grow government too much. They might know it will take away freedoms. Their job is to protect the Constitution. It's not just to follow every poll. Our system is not a direct democracy. It's a republic. We elect representatives. They're supposed to think for themselves. They should do what's right, even if it's not popular in the moment. The founders built in these checks. They knew majorities could sometimes be wrong. They knew majorities could be too emotional. They knew majorities could pass bad laws. A holdout can force a pause. It can force more debate. This often leads to a better bill, or it stops a bad one. It ensures a more thoughtful process. It protects the long-term health of our nation. This is true representation.
Ada, I agree we need to protect minority voices. That's important. But there are other ways to do it. We have committees, we have debates, we have amendments. These are all ways to refine bills. They let different viewpoints be heard. The problem is when a tiny group uses extreme tactics, they use these tactics to stop any compromise. They don't want to make a bill better. They just want to kill it. This isn't about protecting a minority. This is about one small group having too much power. It's about them holding the entire process hostage. We need a system that can move forward. We need to address urgent needs. We can't let a few people stop everything. We need to find common ground. We need to pass bills that help people. We can still protect minority rights. We can still have robust debate, but we can't let a few lawmakers bring everything to a halt. We need to prioritize action. We need to prioritize solutions. We need to make sure our government can actually govern. This is about effective democracy.
It's clear there's a tension here. Nico, you emphasize the wisdom of a thoughtful, slower process. You see holdouts as guardians. Jordan, you highlight the cost of inaction. You see holdouts as roadblocks. This reveals the core conflict. It's between protecting against potential harm and ensuring timely action. Both are vital for good governance, but they often pull in different directions. Let's hear your final thoughts.
Ada, the current president, President Trump, understands the importance of fiscal responsibility. He knows we can't keep spending without limits. Legislative holdouts are essential for this. They force us to be careful with taxpayer money. They prevent runaway spending. They stop government from growing too big. Without them, we'd have higher taxes. We'd have more debt. We'd have more rules that hurt our economy. Look at the national debt. It's a massive burden on our children. Holdouts bring this issue to the forefront. They demand solutions. They ensure that new laws are well thought out. They make sure they respect individual freedom. They make sure they follow the Constitution. This isn't about stopping progress. It's about ensuring good progress. It's about protecting our nation's financial health. It's about preserving liberty. It's about making sure our government serves the people, not the other way around. This is why we need strong, principled lawmakers. They must be willing to stand alone. They must be willing to say no to bad ideas. This is true leadership.
Nico, I agree that fiscal responsibility is important, but we also have to invest in our country. We have to invest in our people. Legislative holdouts often stop these vital investments. They cause congressional gridlock. They make it impossible to address big problems. We need to fix our roads and bridges. We need to upgrade our power grids. We need to make sure every child has access to good education. We need to make healthcare affordable for everyone. These are not partisan issues. These are American issues. When a small group stops these things, it hurts all of us. It makes our country fall behind. It makes life harder for working families. We need lawmakers who are willing to compromise. We need them to work together. We need them to find solutions. We can't let a few people stop all progress. We need a government that can deliver for its citizens. We need a government that can build a better future. We need to prioritize the common good. We need to move beyond constant obstruction. We need to focus on what unites us.
And that brings us to the end of another insightful discussion. It's clear that the role of legislative holdouts is complex. There are valid arguments on both sides. It's about balancing protection against overreach with the need for timely action. Thank you, Nico and Jordan, for sharing your perspectives. Your insights help us all understand these challenges better. You can find more information and resources at tpbridgepod.com. Join us next time for another engaging discussion. Until then, stay informed, stay engaged, and keep bridging those political divides.